Hey guys, welcome back to the Laker family. I want to discuss a topic, a trending topic that Shaq started a couple of days ago, saying that his 2000 and 2001 Lakers would be able to easily defeat the 96 Michael Jordan Chicago Bulls, which sparked a lot of controversial debates all over the board. And I want to dive into that. Who was completely wrong? Who had a point? Who was right? And I would like to give my opinion on this subject. That and more up next. So, the topic at hand was would the Lakers of 01 beat the 96 Chicago Bulls team? There were some people, some analysts, one in particular that was egregious. Stephenasmith yet again came on First Take and decided to say that the '01 Lakers would be completely outclassed, would be probably most likely swept. That the duo would be the duo of Shaq and Kobe would be dominated by Michael Jordan and Scottie Pippen and Robin, Dennis Rodman and those boys. He just completely just disrespected that team as a whole. And people see that, especially young kids, they look at that and Stephen A said the 2001 Lakers will get swept. So I guess that must be right. Because a lot of this younger generation, they don't like to go back and do their due diligence on their research. They kind of listen to the media more and take what the media says is truth. And that's how you can easily get brainwashed into believing that 2001 Lakers team couldn't even compete or compare to the 96 Bulls team. And they often get kind of disrespected when it comes to other top teams in history as well. But we do know that. Let's get right into it, though. I'm gonna show you some of the teammates and some of the stats so you can better see where I'm coming from. Now we have the 2001 Lakers record. They finished with a record of 56-26. They finished first in the NBA Pacific Division. And we have the 95-96 Chicago's Bulls roster. With their record, they finished with a record of 72-10 and finished first in the NBA Central Division. The depth chart for the Lakers on that 01 team, they had Ron Harper, Mike Penberthy, Derek Fisher, Tyronn Lue, their point guards, Kobe Bryant, Brian Shaw, Isaiah Ryder as shooting guard, small forward, Rick Fox, Devin George, at the power forward position, Horace Grant, Robert Horry, Mark Madsen, Stanislav Medvedenko, and at center, Shaquille O'Neal and Greg Foster. Then you go to the Bulls depth chart. They had Steve Kerr, Ron Harper, Randy Brown as shooting guard, only Michael Jordan. Small forward, Scottie Pippen, Tony Kukoc, Judd Buchler. Power forward, Dennis Rodman, Dickie Simpkins, Jason Caffey, John Saley. And at center, Luke Longley, Bill Winnington, James Edwards, and Jack Haley. So, as you can see, both teams had great supporting cast around them. People often discount the role players that the 01 team had, which were some gritty, grimy, seasoned veterans that knew their roles precisely. And they were a very, very important, integral part to the help of helping Kobe and Shaq win those titles. Now, obviously, you have Ron Harper on both teams. He kind of averaged around the same points on both. Derek Fisher shot great from three. I think he shot like 51% from three in that run when we went on that sweep. What was it, 15-1 in the playoffs? Has never been before been done. So that as impressive as that Chicago's Bulls team was, 72-10 regular season record, that was still impressive what the Lakers did, sweeping through that playoffs like that had never been, before been done. And if it wasn't for an overtime loss the first game to the 76ers, it could have been a clean sweep through the playoffs and the finals. So that goes to show you how dominant that team was. But wait, I'm not finished. Okay, you have for the 2000 to 2001 Lakers, they averaged 34% from three-point range shooting, and close to 50%. It was 49% on field goals. And we have the free throw game, which was 68%. Now the opponents that played against the other teams that we faced that year, they shot 35% from three, which is really not good. That shows that we had a little trouble containing threes. And the other team shot a 45% field goal rating and shot 75% from the free throw line against us. So the free throw game definitely would have kind of hurt us there, especially if they would have went to the hack a Shaq. But that goes hand in hand. If you want to play the hack a Shaq, then therefore that means you're going to thin out your big man rotation. They're going to be thinned out quickly if you play the hack Shaq. So you have to be very strategic with your hack a Shaq, because he can easily put your guys in foul trouble and just get them out of the game. Then who are you left with? A small. You have to go small ball because you're out a big man. So it goes both ways with the hack a Shaq, and plus he wasn't terrible. He kept it reasonable. For Shaq, he kept it reasonable. So he probably was the biggest reason why that free throw percentage was kind of low, but he still hit his fair share and kind of hit a lot of clutch ones too in the playoffs. And when you go to the Bulls, they shot 40% from three-point range, 49% overall from field goal percentage. They shot 74% from the free throw line. Their opponents shot 35% from the three-point line and 47% from two-point field goal overall, and 71% from free throw range. Now, it seemed like they had a little issues as well guarding the three-point line if their opponent shot 35%. But what helped them was their shooting, probably with, Steve Kerr probably had a lot to do with that as well. They did shoot good from the three-point line, 40%. Okay, now we have the pace. We have here the pace of play. Now this gets me a little upset too when people say that 01 Lakers team wouldn't be able to keep up with some of these faster teams. That's also a myth. They played at, let's see, the pace they played at 91.7%, and had a defensive rating of 104.8 and an offensive rating of 108.4. Okay, they were 14th in pace that year, but they played a Kings team that was playing at a pace of 95%. And if you go to the Kings team that we faced after that was much tougher, their pace of play was even faster. So people that say we couldn't keep up with a faster pace type team, that is very much a myth. And that Kings team was loaded from top to bottom with three-point shooters as well. So even though We did have our issues here and there, containing three-point shooters. We still overcame that with the dominance of Shaq and Kobe, and never quit defenders like Rick Fox, Derek Fisher, Robert Ory, Ron Harper. All those guys had gritty, grimy defense. So this team, for people to even say that this team would even be in the conversation of that Golden State Warriors team, they're sadly mistaken as well. Yes, we would have our issues with Stephen Curry against Derek Fisher, but they would have a whole ton of issues having to deal with a prime Kobe and Shaquille O'Neal. But that's another video for another time. Okay, let's go to the Chicago Bulls pace of play. Their pace of play was at 91%, so similar to what the Lakers played, and that was something else that Stephen A. mentioned, that we probably was too slow for that Bulls team and yada yada. But the pace of play was about the same, and we also proved, like I said just a few minutes ago, that we were able to raise our pace if we wanted to. So the Bulls' offensive rating was 115, which was really good. Their defensive rating 101.8. So our defensive rating was even better than theirs. For Stephen A. to say that we would get outclassed defensively, he was wrong on that as well. Because we were at 104 and the Chicago Bulls were at 101. And that would even out that offensive rating, because our defensive rating was a bit higher than the Bulls were. So yeah, man, Stephen A. just kind of completely ticked me off with that, man. The way he just quickly dismissed that 01 Lakers team like they were just some D-League team compared to the 96 Bulls. Yes, we know the greatness of Michael Jordan, but mind you, Pippen is nowhere near in the vicinity of Shaquille O'Neal. If you want to talk about the two duos going at it, since the role players, I'm going to just put it like this: role players would kind of level each other out, going up against one another. So it would be left back really to the duos to outperform each other. Michael Jordan would be a 1A. Kobe would be a 1B in that situation versus each other. And then you would have Shaq versus Scottie Pippen. Come on now. It would be, I think, with Shaq, the highest, here it is. Shaq averaged 28.7 points that season. Kobe as well averaged 28.5, and that goes back to that's for the Kobe haters that say that Shaq carried Kobe, and then even that last championship run, Kobe became even really became the better player as Shaq began to not really take care of himself and kind of let himself go there, with Derek Fisher, averaged 11.5. We got Horace Grant, 8.5. Rick Fox, 9.6. Ron Harper, 6.5. Brian Shaw, 5.3. Robert Ory, 5.2. Isaiah Ryder, who people forget about, who was a great scorer, 7.6. Mike Penberthy, 5.0. Tyronn Lue, 3.4. Devin George, 3.1. Mark Madsen, 2.0. Greg Foster, 2.0. And Mevadinko, 4.6. So we had some capable scorers and defenders on this team. And then you go to the Chicago Bulls team. Michael Jordan, 30 points. Scottie Pippen, 19.4. Nowhere near the production of a Shaquille O'Neal, who averaged 28.7. Dennis Rodman, 5.5. And hold on, just a quick point about Dennis Rodman. Stephen A. also tried to make a point that Dennis Rodman would completely just cancel out Shaq or just defend him greatly and just make Shaq pretty much a non-factor. That was bull again, Stephen A. Smith. Although I highly respect the defensive capabilities of Dennis Rodman, I really liken him to Ben Wallace. They're kind of close, similar in similar categories there. Even though I still give Dennis Rodman the nod defensively over Ben Wallace, they were kind of similar. And we all seen Ben Wallace was able to kind of bother Shaq and that 04 finals. But again, that was a Shaq that had kind of started letting himself go and really wasn't training and working hard. It showed in his stat production. His stats dropped off down to like 21 points that year. And so not only did Kobe see it, the Lakers saw it. So for everybody that wanted to blame Kobe again, calling out Shaq, the Lakers saw it. And that's why they made their choice to keep Kobe instead of Shaq when it was time to re-up Shaq. But that's another subject. And Shaq, a prime Shaq, which like that 99 to 2002 range, Dennis Rodman did not want to see that Shaq. I'm sorry. Dennis Rodman did not want to see that Shaq. Shaq would completely just dominate that whole front line, along with Dennis Rodman had those guys in foul trouble. You have Luke Longley that scored 9.1. Tony Kukoc, which was a great player, 13.1. Ron Harper, 7.4. Steve Kerr, 8.4. Bill Wennington, 5.3. Simpkins, 3.6. Sally, 2.1. Randy Brown, 2.7. Edwards, 3.5. Caffey, 3.2. And Haley at 5.0. So they had some tremendous help as well. And that's why I said that the role players would kind of level each other out there. So I would say that this 01 team versus the 96 Bulls, it would go 7. It would go to a game 7. And if I had to put my money on it, as great as Michael Jordan is, he never had to face a team like that 01 Lakers. It's just facts. He never had to face a team like that. Shaq was just so physically dominant that words can't even describe. And then you have Kobe that's going to be coming at your head trying to prove every single point that he's just as good as you. So you're going to be too busy trying to deal with Kobe to even try to help Scottie Pippen or whoever, Dennis Rodman, contain Shaq. So it was very, very disrespectful for Stephen A. Smith to say that the 96 Bulls would easily handle or sweep that 01 Lakers team. I have to agree with my boy Shannon on this one. I think Shannon was probably the only one that I got this right. And even Skip Bayless had it going to a game 7. He had it going to where Michael Jordan would have to win a game-winning shot. So if it got to that point, obviously that 01 team was way more dominant than the media leads on and wants to make you younger folks believe. I mean, we older folks are people that grew up. We're not old that grew up to that era, but we still live long enough to have witnessed that team. And we can tell you firsthand how crazy that team was. They were able to turn it off when they wanted to, relax, coast, and then boom, turn it on like it was nothing. Like it was nothing. They turned it on. They were not even considered the top team that season that they swept the playoffs. The playoffs came and they just said, okay, turn it on. How many teams do you know could do that? Not many. Not even your favorite team. So, and another point I wanted to make real quick was the degree of difficulty. The teams that 01 Lakers team faced during that sweep were the 2001 Portland Trail Blazers, which was loaded. Everybody and their mama who watched that era knows how loaded and young and youthful that Blazers team was, with the addition of Scottie Pippen leading the way. Scottie Pippen was improving and showing what he could do without Michael Jordan. Even though he's still not no Shaquille O'Neal, he was still showing how valuable of a player he was without Michael Jordan on their team. And they had young players: Rasheed Wallace, Jermaine O'Neal. What was it? I can't remember his name. Smith. I know it was Smith. That boy he could shoot lights out. They had a ton of Stoudemire. That team had some players, and they had a record of 50-32. So that's 150 win team that Lakers team swept. The Sacramento Kings team finished with a record of 55-27, and they were like the team that was the Phoenix Suns before the Phoenix Suns formed. They were your Warriors before the Warriors formed. That was the Kings. They were basically the forefront of the fast-paced type of team, three-ball type of team, and people tend to not give them credit for that. You know, they overlooked them because they did lose to the Lakers. So we beat that 55-27 fast-paced team, and not only that, we followed that up with beating a 58-24 Spurs team, which we beat the y'all coveted player, the media's coveted player, Tim Duncan. You know, and also there were Ginobili, Bowen, your Tony Parkers to go along with the coach Greg Popovich. That team was completely loaded, and we swept them. Y'all dominant player Tim Duncan that y'all always put over Kobe, and we swept him point blank. And don't say Kobe didn't beat him without Shaq, because Kobe beat Tim Duncan way more times after that, even without Shaq. Matter of fact, Kobe, like I said in my last video, Kobe had 3 more seasons of beating all those 50-win teams without the help of Shaquille O'Neal. But the last team we faced in the finals was the 76ers, and they were 56-26. That was a team led by Allen Iverson, and that team was well constructed around Allen Iverson. If those of you who didn't get a chance to watch Allen Iverson in person or live back during that time, the guy was a dog. One of the hardest players that Kobe said he had to face and go up against. And they had great defenders as well. A big man shot blockers at center with Dikembe Mutombo, Tyrone Hill, and those boys. That team was no joke. People think it was just Iverson, which he does deserve a lot of the scoring accolades from that team. But defensively, they had dogs around him, and we handled them 4-1. We handled them 4-1 in the finals. Okay. That Bulls team didn't have to go through that degree of difficulty. Even though, they faced the Miami Heat team. You know, they had Alonzo Mourning, Tim Hardaway, and those boys. They had a good squad, but they were only 42-40. I don't know if that was due to some injuries or what have you that they had suffered, why their record was that way, but it still was a 42-40 team. Then they played the Knicks, which was 47-35. Again, not a 50-win team. Then they faced the Orlando Magic roster, probably the best team that they faced during that playoffs. They were 60-22. And again, another point that Stephen A. Smith tried to make, but he contradicted himself. He said that Kobe would have been not seasoned enough and too inexperienced in that 01 season to deal with the 96 Bulls and Michael Jordan. But then he turned around and said that Michael Jordan, that they could contend with the Lakers because they beat inexperienced Shaquille O'Neal with the Orlando Magic. So you just contradicted yourself all in just in a couple of seconds. You contradicted yourself, Stephen A. Smith. So I liken that, me personally, I liken that Magic team to what the Chicago Bulls were those first couple of years when they were losing to the Pistons. Yes, the Bulls were good, young, athletic, spry, but they just weren't ready. And that was that Orlando Magic team. They were good, as dominant and good they were with Penny Hardaway and those guys. They was not experienced enough yet. And then you get to the Seattle Supersonics. They had a record of 64-18, and they beat the Bulls beat them 4-2. So they still lost 2 games to the Seattle Supersonics. But let's be honest, could the Seattle Supersonics contend with that 0-1 Lakers team, or even some of those two, what was it, 2004, 2005 Spurs teams? Do you think they would have been able to beat any of those teams? I don't think so. I really don't think so. As good as they were, I don't think they would have been able to beat any of those teams. So the degree of difficulty that the 0-1 Lakers team swept through, it wasn't the same level of difficulty that 96 Bulls team went through. So I'm not going to sit up here and tell you that we would beat them easily, like what Shaq said. But I wouldn't sit up there and do like what Stephen A. Smith said and just dismiss us completely. It would, in my opinion, it would go to a game 7. And after that, I still would give my Lakers the edge. And that's not being biased. I would give them the edge in a game 7. But it would definitely go there. Not a sweep. But I think that's all I have on that today. And I just had to get this message out to y'all, especially before this highly anticipated Chicago's Bulls dynasty comes on tonight. The Last Dance with Michael Jordan. They're going to be showing the ins and outs of that last run. And I'm hyped and I'm excited for it. So tell me what y'all think about the 0-1 Lakers team versus the 96 Chicago Bulls team. And the comment section down below, let me know what you thought about that and what the naysayers were saying. But I'll get back to y'all with any more updates, anything that new comes along for the season. And as always, thank y'all for watching. Join the Laker family by liking, sharing, and subscribing. And I'll see y'all next time. Peace.